Hey guys, got a 1980 cj7 with the inline 6 in it. Been trying to fix up. It's sat up for a little over 20 years before it's been cranked. I've got it back running, but I got a battery draw. So I was going to show you guys what I do to track down a battery draw. This is just a temporary battery. It's a marine battery, but it's good enough for now, just to find my problem before I put a good battery in it. First thing you do, if you got a battery draw, make sure your battery's charged all the way up, and make sure, obviously that'll tell you if your battery's bad too, but this battery's good overnight, sometimes 2 nights. It'll drain, won't crank, charge it up, and it's fine. So that's kind of the first telltale signs you got a battery drain. First thing you do is disconnect your negative battery cable. And what we're going to do is get our multimeter. Any multimeter, it's not got to be fancy, but you want to put it on the amps, preferably 10 amps. Some multimeters are 20 amp. But another thing you want to make sure of, this is on DC current, which will be the lines. Let's see if I can get it to focus here. Sometimes they'll say DC, other times it won't focus. Other times it'll be a line on top of 3 dots, which will be DC. That's about all it's wanting to do for me. There we go. The line with the 3 dots in red, that lets you know you're on DC current. So you make sure that's on your multimeter. What you do, it don't matter if you use the red or the black leads. You're closing this circuit back up by connecting one to your terminal and one to your cable. And if you got a draw, you're going to show amps. This is a pretty good size draw, 3.2 amps. So with everything off, no doors open, no dome lights burning, nothing, this thing's drawing 3 amps, which is pretty substantial. But you can take you some clamps and clamp these leads to your battery, and then you can kind of watch. This is old school. It doesn't have a fuse box under the hood. Usually you can start with your fuses under the hood because it's closer, but just pull one fuse at a time. And when you pull a fuse, if you see that number drop substantially, that's your problem. That's what circuit it is. The fuse box on this thing's over there under the driver's side door, so it'll be a little bit of walking back and forth. But I have already done that. I've gone and pulled each fuse individually, and it stayed right at 3.2 volt amps. So it's not in my fuse box. Sometimes people run into that and they're not sure. This thing has sat up, like I say, for like 24 years. So it's definitely got some electrical stuff going on. So if your fuse box is showing everything good, your next step is your alternator. Your alternator, sometimes the rectifier will go bad in the alternator and it will let it feed through. So if you want to, you can leave this connected and disconnect your alternator. That's all you got to do, just disconnect. This is the Delco style alternator. Once you disconnect the alternator, let me get them reconnected here. Sorry for the shaky video, one-handed's a little tricky. So I got it back connected here, got the alternator disconnected, and as you can see, I've got 0 amps. That's with everything off. So this was my alternator. It'll be feeding through the alternator. So if you check your fuse box and it's not in your fuse, the alternator is usually your best bet. That's what it is. It can be a solenoid draining. So if the alternator won't hit, then the solenoid next. But maybe that'll help some of you guys out if you go through your fuses. But just make sure it's on the amps, and make sure it's on DC current. AC current's like your house stuff. So just a quick little tutorial on how to check for a battery draw. If you pull a fuse in there, then you know you got a short somewhere or something. Most time it's something corroded, touching, loose wire, something like that. But that'll get you in the ballpark and at least let you know what you can unhook till you can get it squared away. Hope this helps some of you guys.